everybody. Welcome back. We are midweek, and this is the podcast. My name is Dean. That is Caryma Saad at Caryma Rules on Twitter. Sadvocacy.com is where you can find her and all her work. That is Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton, at Lachlan Cross on Twitter. We've got Chris Rook, rookie, my right-hand cat. He's going to stand by because we've got some crazy NFL racism to talk about today, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And we've got other racism to discuss today, which is why Caryma Saad is here, ladies and gentlemen. Caryma Rules. And my man Greg Bond is here as well. Bondzee is getting ready to pull stakes, go to Nicaragua, and run away from himself, so it'll be weird when you get there and you find out you're still with you, right?
I keep running from me, but the fucker keeps following me everywhere I go.
I think it's your shadow. You're
know,
like Brick Tamlin.
You know what I like about you, though, is that every place you go, you realize you haven't run away from yourself yet.
Yeah. One day we'll settle down.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. We listen. Please don't stop.
I'm not. Hey, we got some great content coming up for the rest of the winter from Nicaragua. It's going to be a gong show down there. There's a lot of great stuff to do and see, and you guys.
I can't believe you didn't hurt yourself on those sleds.
Yeah, me neither. Because you went sledding for a couple of days, which is very different. Now you're heading back to Nicaragua, and you're going to go down there. And when you were there before, you lived in a porn house, right? Are you going to be living in the same porn house again?
No, sadly, that house. Well, the house isn't gone, but the porn people don't live there anymore. They actually broke up. But the guy lives across the street from it.
You're saying the porno community home ended poorly? It's weird.
I know, shocking, isn't it? Yeah, no more porn house for Bondzee. But I got a nice little place rented there. It's a couple blocks from the ocean, third floor. It's got $1 million view of the whole entire bay, so it's awesome.
Why do I have cake running through my head right now?
Cake the band?
Yeah.
Reluctantly crouched at the starting line. That one?
No, there's a down by the ocean. The ocean song.
The cup, yearning and burning. That one.
That's good too.
Yeah, that is a great song. I haven't heard. Yeah. Anyway, Caryma, how are you? Nice to see you. Sorry to jam for 2.5 minutes while you sit there and go, "Hey, dummies, I'm here."
Oh no,
I that look on her face like she's questioning the decision she made to come on.
Well,
which I enjoy
like 100 times, so she can't be questioning it that much.
She
anymore.
Still has it though. She still has that look like.
I think it's because I'm here.
I think it might be.
You're cool.
Yeah, you're cool, man. You're cool. Do you still get that from people? Because I know you and I have been working together for a while, trying just to fucking show people how the world should be working, and trying to get an unbiased perspective from people, and trying to make the world around us a little bit better place, and try not to be dickhead MSM guys. But do people still go, "Why are you working with him?"
I get that sometimes, but not a whole lot. Like not a whole lot. And frankly, it's no one like you guys are fun, and I think that there is a common quest for sort of greater good, truth, and with a little bit of humor. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a good way of putting it. You know what? I like that. I occasionally get, you're doing a show with who? But those have slowed down because now I've done too many of them.
But you got to manage expectations.
So people are like,
you're the who.
Yeah, I'm part of the who now. I bet you that comes up now. Yeah. You're doing a show with Lachlan?
Yeah.
Have you thought this through?
Well, it was funny because I was on the phone. The reason why I asked is I was on the phone this morning with some of our lawyers, and yes, we have some. Because I got this today as soon as I woke up. I was like, oh, nice morning. I'm downstairs. I go make a coffee, a little hazelnut creamer in it with Splenda, by the way, so there's no sugar. Really enjoy a flavored coffee in the morning. I always say the same thing. That first coffee of the day is my best coffee ever. Always, every day. I look forward to it that much. So I'm getting ready to do my coffee.
The hazelnut, though.
Like, oh, dude, it's that or French vanilla. I know it's
go
weird.
on. Well, we need to discuss. Yeah,
a dark roast. I had a dark roast. So I am scratching my privates this morning at around 6 o'clock, and it's a little chilly outside. Kids are sleeping. They're all grown, basically young men now. I say kids just because I'm an idiot. But kids are sleeping. And I log on to Twitter for the first time. And normally I don't do this till like 8 o'clock. But I'm like, let's see what the crazies got up to last night. Let's see what happened last night. And to my surprise, I was inundated with a whole bunch of DMs and people saying, "Hey, have you seen what the official trucker convoy account was saying about you?" And I'm like, "No, let's have a look." So I go and click on the link, and this is what I get. This is from the verified Trucker Convoy 2022 account that is run by Pat King, virulent racist. Some guy named Chris Boundary or something like that. Who cares? He's a racist too. Watched a few videos of him in his garage with Confederate flags all over the place and the 1%er flag. So he's racist, that we know. And Tamara Litch, who runs this account and the GoFundMe with now just over $10 million in it. They called me a pedophile yesterday, saying, quote, "Pedophile Dean Blundell is trying to dox cops in Ottawa." Here's his tag on Twitter. That's from a person named Lady Itty Bitty Shovel on Gab. Now, after I retweeted this, because I'm like, because this is like, Caryma, is this not like a tactic that these guys use? Anytime you touch a racist nerve or you point out who's involved and you actually like are accurate, you get called a pedophile, satanic pedophile. Like the pedophile
QAnon.
tag, they throw it in, which is very QAnon based, is it not? Like, where does this come from?
I think, I mean, I've observed it the most in QAnon sort of conspiracy theories. I think that, you know, it's not exclusive to that, but there is this weird, very weird preoccupation with pedophilia and Satanism, and that's just sort of the go-to insult or slander for people. And it's not like figurative. I think that when it is applied to some of the adversaries, it is people literally believe that, you know, so-and-so is a pedophile or traffics children. And it just, you know, it's so common that it's almost a bit of a, like, is this projection? Like, why fixate on such a perverse, you know, like that's not a light thing to throw around. And it you know, it goes to as well, just sort of stripping meaning of everything, right? And taking that meaning away, and just ideas and concepts become sort of just anything can be anything, which is part of the MO.
Yeah, but are they calling me a pedophile because, well, clearly I'm not. I've never been a pedophile, never had an inkling to be a pedophile. You got to be crazy as fuck and super demented and delusional to be a pedophile. You almost have to be equally as crazy to use that word publicly, written down, where high-powered lawyers see it and start calling people like me going, "Hey, man, want some help? Hey, man, want some help?" Because this lies across a bunch of different avenues. And we've become almost numb. Like when someone launches something like this where they call you a pedophile or they say that you're hiding. Like Theo Fleury last week, he's like, "What are you hiding?" Us like alluding to the fact I'm a pedophile because he didn't like the fact that I called him crazy, said he needed to get help, and that he's marshaling a white supremacist group across the country, which indeed they are. And white supremacy, I don't use lightly either. It's not something I've just tossed around. But like, how much of that now, Caryma? Because I'm seeing a ton of it. And it's not in the flags. It's in the actions of the people who are still allowed to be there, right? Like, it is nonstop. The racial epithets and the people that are now in charge of this whole thing. Pat King, known racist. We played videos of him talking about how he hates. Well, dude, this is the guy who's in charge of the whole thing. This is who I'm talking about.
Now, what it is the part of the depopulation. And a lot of people don't understand what that means. And what there is there's an end game. It's called depopulation of the Caucasian race, or the Anglo-Saxon. And that's what the goal is to depopulate the Anglo-Saxon race. Because they are the ones with the strongest bloodlines. And we'll leave it at that because then we get into a whole different topic. But it's a depopulation of race.
So that goes on for like
that
another
shirt,
half hour.
I'm sorry. I can't get past that neckline. Every
I had
time
the literal
you
same thought.
show that video, I'm like, did you take Karen's shirt? Like you were on the wrong side of the closet.
That's a low rider.
She's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, I can't either. I mean,
I like that it fits, though. I mean,
yeah, not bad.
Everyone needs love.
Yeah. I don't know that this guy does, and I don't know that these people do. I mean, they are. And listen, like the whole pedophile thing, calling me a pedophile,
it's
dangerous.
Dean.
I know I know where it comes from.
Yeah.
I know it comes from, but in the world of perception, which is perception being reality for a lot of people, that is incredibly damaging and incredibly damaging to our brand. It's incredibly damaging to us having the ability to generate revenue. It's incredibly damaging to people, and they use it all the time. So after, and we're going to make a big announcement about this on Friday, but I'm not playing this game with these guys. Like, I'm not playing this game with these guys. I'm not doing the whole. I know that Pat King's a racist, and there are receipts which I've just played for you saying that he's racist because he's admitted he's a racist fuck, and he's in charge of this convoy. And that's generally what is driving the apathy on behalf of Ottawa Police, RCMP. It's like, fuck, use your white privilege to help the vulnerable, not to continue to promote and propagate that white privilege that these people are employing. So we do know that this is run by racist, virulent racist. And these racists, when you call them that and you point to the receipts of their racism, what they do is they haul out that word and they try and tag you with it and hang it on you. And I come from a litigious world, where when someone says something like that, you get them. You go get them. You fill your fucking boat with smarter people, which isn't hard in this case. And these people have all come to me, and we'll make an announcement about Friday. But I can tell you this, I will enjoy this whole process. Like, there's a lot of times where you get involved in lawsuits. Caryma, you know this. They're fucking stressful, right?
Not fun. It's not fun to be litigating.
No.
Whatever side you're on, whether you're on the offense, the defense, it is not fun. Right. But if I had $10 million, I probably wouldn't have put pedophile in writing.
See what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? It's not that I'm spending it already, but it's that I'm earmarking some of it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to follow this to fruition. And I'm going to do it legally, and I have no emotion attached to it. And not because I want the money. I don't give a fuck about the money.
I'll take it.
And if that happens, I'm happy to give you some
tickets that I've been litigious about that I'd like to pay off.
I'm going to feel like Lil Wayne in a strip joint in Atlanta with you and everybody here that works together. If this thing works the way I know it's probably going to work.
So we're allowed to cheer on the pedophile name calling?
No,
because
I'd appreciate it if you didn't. Because it's damaging, right?
It is damaging.
And it's triggering for a lot of people, is it not? Like, it's triggering for people to see that word that have been treated poorly. But I find it unbelievable, Caryma, you made mention of it, the projection from this group. I would love to see all of their web browsers. I bet you we'd find some interesting stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I really do.
Before we should pump the brakes on that and get the announcement out about the lawsuit first.
We'll do that on Friday. Bonds, you were going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to ask you, did it start with Theo Fleury calling? Didn't he call you? It started with that, and that's where it kind of took off,
He kind of got the ball rolling on it. But I would be interested.
Oh, he's on the list, by the way.
Caryma might know more about this just based on the sort of the legal side of it. But there's been a lot of this in the States. Like, there's been a lot of politicians and actors and people of note that have left-leaning ideology that have been dragged into this exact same thing in the United States with the QAnon movement. I'm wondering, do you know of any lawsuits down in the States based on this?
So
I don't.
I can't speak fully to this because I'm only licensed in Ontario, but my understanding is that defamation law in the US is quite different than in Canada. In Canada, we actually have some parameters and guidelines on what can and cannot be said. In the US, that is a lot looser. So it's not that it's not that there can't be a successful defamation suit in the US, but I think that the hurdles are much higher. So I'm not aware of sort of any kind of anti-QAnon lawsuits. There may well be, but Canada is a different landscape.
So can I ask you then what kind of mistake? I called it a $10 million mistake because I just glanced at their GoFundMe account. That's all I did. It's like a $10 million mistake. But and yes, I will follow up with the.
You know what you got to do
is
if you win that money, just go start giving it to truckers. Actually giving it to truckers.
I might use it to start a legitimate mainstream media account that people actually give a shit about and like to come to for unbiased information. I think that's what we'll end up doing with it. And then maybe making the lives of the people around this trucker convoy, which is not a trucker convoy, a little bit better. But let's not spend the money before we get there. Caryma, part of this, and the money is money. I'm really excited for something called, if indeed we do this, the discovery process. So explain how that works in legal circles if you can.
I've only done this a couple of times.
When you have a civil lawsuit, there's this concept that both sides need to exchange their evidence well in advance. So there is no trial by ambush, or there's not supposed to be. You're supposed to exchange documents and information, and that can include information about one's assets. And hypothetically, in a case where the person you're suing had a very substantial GoFundMe, one might be entitled to information about the source of those funds, how those funds are allocated, distributed, especially if the group itself is kind of amorphous and really led by individuals, maybe not kind of formally set up. So bottom line, discovery process is where you get to creep into the other side's evidence.
And that would include where this money came from, correct?
The donors and whatnot, right?
So I'm looking at this, not personally, but more like it's a public service. Now I am, anyway. And I'm looking at the personal damage they've caused, the business damage they've caused by trying to tell everybody I'm a pedophile and I operate a pedophile empire, which I don't. So, and again, you'd want to have that information before you come out in an official capacity as an organization of peaceful people just there to affect change for a few individuals. You'd probably not want to lead with pedophile if indeed your GoFundMe account, this is from 5 minutes ago, had $10,098,300 in it.
We were watching it this morning, and Grant kept calling out the people that were donating.
Way to go, John. John C. from Edmonton.
Thank you, Maureen, for the $25.
There's so many $10,000 donations, which is
crazy.
Just under the cutoff for kind of money laundering.
Who's donating to this thing? No, but there's a lot of small ones too, right?
Yes. Like, do you know? Do you have an inkling, or there information or rumors about? Because I can't wait to get into this portion of it too publicly, but we'll do that legally. But how are they getting so many $10,000 donations? And I happen to know where some of them are from. Do you?
So one person pieced together that there may be a donation from Elon Musk to the tune of some $49,000 or something in that vicinity.
It was $42,069.
Right.
Yeah, because he loves 420 and 16.
Weird numbers. Yes. They had some sort of significance, but I don't care enough about him to know what they are. So that's one. But the whole, like, the fact that Tamara Lich is associated with the Maverick Party, and we just had this coup within the Conservative Party, and Aaron O'Toole got the boot. It was this sort of, and we don't know, so Elon Musk is obviously not Canadian, right? So there's foreign money there. Is this sort of an injection of foreign money into Canadian politics? And there's no doubt, looking at this protest with all of the fuck Trudeau paraphernalia, that this is a political protest. And again, the organizer has links to this fringe political party. So I don't know where the money comes from, but I suspect it's not a whole bunch of average Canadians throwing in $10,000, right? So there are those small donations. I'm not suggesting that, the entire GoFundMe is questionable. But I do have a lot of questions, especially given kind of the lack of information that was provided about how funds would be allocated. And, again, a hypothetical discovery process, knowing that Tamara has said, we have a team of lawyers and accountants, and we're going to have very strict, procedures and protocols. Like, what are those? And why are people compelled to give so much money to something that is so unclear?
I have a couple of things.
Now I'm glad we're getting into the financial conversation about it. And the fact that I might end up with all of it is really exciting. Go ahead, Locke.
So I have a question, and I don't know if anybody can answer this. What would be outside of Canada's interests in controlling a party like the Maverick Party, formerly known as WEX? Is it just for
destabilization?
Instability? Okay. But
there's also ideological sort of overlap, right? And we have organizations like the International, Democrat Union, Stephen Harper is a part of, where it's, world leaders who have similar leanings kind of getting together and, how do we affect this global change, global strategy? And there's nothing necessarily, nefarious or, let's leave out nefarious, but there's nothing like necessarily illegal about that. But when you then insert money into the conversation, and there's very strict rules about money and politics, or there ought to be, right? And we see sort of an erosion, I think, to some extent, of these norms and conventions, and this idea that it should be kind of more local, right? And
that's my next question.
Yeah.
Like, if, let's say, this is a form of trying to create a bank account for the Maverick Party for whatever purpose, take the the outside interests out of it, and they are using this to fund a political strategy moving forward for a separation of the West. Would they not be required by law as a legal party, as legal representation in Canada, to disclose? I mean, I get the $10,000 rule, but if all of a sudden that $10,000 or that $10 million ends up in a bank account for the Maverick Party, would they not have to have some sort of proof that came about legitimately? That's why I'm confused by how this could potentially be used as a campaign laundering thing. Help me out there, Caryma.
So I'm not an expert in money laundering, so I don't have a full answer to this. One sort of thought to what you were saying is maybe the point isn't for the Maverick Party to ever win, right? Like maybe that's not actually their goal. We sort of assume when you have a political party, your objective is to get as many seats and to, win and be in control. But what if that's not the goal? And,
What's that? I didn't hear you.
Antifa. I was trying to be funny.
Oh, yeah. You broke up in the middle of it, so it would have been funny if we didn't have a tech problem there. It would have been hilarious. Sorry, dude.
Try.
Yeah, no, I liked it. Caryma Saad joins us. She's in Ottawa for the Flu Trucks Clan Rally. How many people are left? I heard like 300.
There's a couple. There's a couple of hundred people here. There's still a lot of there's still trucks, and they take up a lot of space, obviously. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of an influx of people on the weekend.
I heard Chompers is on his way down. Is that correct? Is Chompers coming? Chris Guy said he's ever since losing it all. He said he's going to have a bit. By the way, he's on his way to Ottawa. It says here. Look he's bringing his garbage bag of shirts.
What a loser!
Oh Lord. He said that. He put a video out saying that he was coming.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him.
He's not on any social media. Like, what's he on now? I guess he's on all the racist ones.
Gab. Yeah.
He's on Telegram.
Racist Facebook. Yeah. Telegram. Yeah, no, he's a nothing now. He's a fucking, he's lost it all, which is fascinating. I just thought it would, like, I was actually wondering if you were waiting for him there, Caryma. Well, like, if that was why you were still staying in
Not
Ottawa.
like behind a bush or anything. Frank, he's following me at this point.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
But
I
yeah,
think he's got a crush on
you know,
you, Caryma.
I was interested to see, does he actually show up? But really, like, the draw is sort of just this melee that's happening outside, and there's no clear end in sight. And what I have observed is that there's more and more residents now who are getting fed up and are demonstrating that in various forms of resistance. And that is that could go a number of different ways. So I want to stay here and keep my eye on it.
Yeah, let me get to a couple of videos here to kind of bolster what you're saying. Last night you posted the video of this lone protester. Watch this guy, Locke. I'm not sure if you saw the same with you, Bonds.
I haven't seen this.
This dude, he's probably in his 40s, maybe 50s. Not too sure. He's dressed all warm, and he's got a sign that says, "Hey, you're not going to fucking hold us hostage." And I want you to watch the people around him that are peacefully protesting, trying to get him the fuck out. Like, this guy's tired of it, right? Everybody. Yeah, that goes on for another 8 minutes, by the way. But that Caryma, that's her footage from last night. What did you notice about your firsthand experience when you're watching this poor guy go, "Hey, fuck off already. We're tired. We just want to go to bed and get up and do our jobs"?
Well, he was very stoic and not at all looking to engage or instigate conflict. That was my observation. But conversely, the convoy supporters were swarming him, were attempting to block his sign, were getting close enough that they were making incidental contact and leaving it up to him to sort of back away or move away. So it is illustrative, I think, of the hypocrisy that cannot be separated from this movement, where it's cries for freedom, but an unwillingness to respect other people's freedom.
Views. Yeah.
You must be so sick and tired of those horns by now, Caryma?
Yeah, it's
They're
horrible.
maddening.
It's
Holy
horrible.
Shit.
It's a form, I think, of torture. It's psychological warfare. I've been reading articles that people are sending me about cults and armies and jail keepers using sound as a weapon.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. When they went and took out Noriega, do you remember that? It was 25 years ago. The drug kingpin of Nicaragua, as I do believe. When they went and took him out, they blared "Enter Sandman" by Metallica out front of the church he was hiding in for 5 straight days. And he's like, "Okay, enough already. I get it. It's so fucking loud. I'm coming out. Arrest me." Now he's in jail. I mean, it's the same tactic that these guys use. Back to the lone protester.
Teletubbies, they do too. The Teletubbies theme song.
That would do it.
And the Barney.
We would need 5 days.
The Barney song.
Yeah. And I love you. You love enough. But that lone protester, he was, and this is unbelievable to me, Caryma. But you posted a video attached to that.
Let's say that out.
Oh, totally. You posted a video attached to that of the police showing up and removing him from the protest and allowing the other people to carry on disrupting life in Ottawa. Is that a fact? Did that happen?
They were offering to escort him away. And when he declined, they basically were like, "Okay, well, you're on your own." And prior to that, there were clear instances where he was being sort of not exactly chased, but, having to sort of avoid this contact from convoy protesters, and police did not intervene as far as I could tell. And again, when he didn't want to leave, that was really the only option presented to him. There was no, "All right, we're going to station 2 out of 6 of our gang, to make sure that nothing goes awry here. Like that wasn't an option. And, you know, I've seen at protests where, you know, it's, we'll call it like a largely sort of a progressive or left-leaning protest, and there are counter protesters who are right-wing. I've seen cops sort of stand as a human shield, essentially, to allow this other side to exercise their same freedom, almost with the assumption that, you know, the main protesters are going to attack, even if that protest is happening peacefully. So this was just the total opposite of that. We have a protest that I don't think can fairly be described as peaceful, and an individual who shows up and is unobtrusive and not looking to create problems, and he was treated as the problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he came back today, dude. The guy has like fucking massive nuts. This is today.
I like this guy. What's his name? Can we
Big
find
Balls
out?
Jimmy? Big
Fuck.
Balls Bob?
Good for him,
Right?
man. Good for him.
Yeah, totally.
Here's the video. This is from today. Dude came back and he's like, fuck it. I'm still here and you're not taking me hostage. You're not going to take my city hostage either. Watch it. You know,
Good
what
for
strikes
him.
me about that is the young millennials that think this is a joke. Like they think that they're there for like a party or to get laid or to
Well, they might be.
crush some beers or to do some coke or to smoke some pot, which by the way, totally cool if you're there to smoke pot. That's fine. But it's this guy wants his city to go back to a state where they can operate and live in freedom. And they're not allowing it. The cops aren't allowing it. To a point that Caryma did this video last night. I'm not sure if this was in your room, but the vantage point's incredible. Or this actually might not be you. But I want you to watch this. And then I want you to tell me where it is. And I want you to tell me if the people in this video weren't white and didn't have mullets, if they'd be dead. Because I can tell you, my theory is if these people were indigenous in this next video, they'd be dead or in jail right now. Watch this. Right? Imagine that down the street from where you live, dude. Locke. Imagine that down the street from where you live. Like paralyzed, can't get out, can't go get eggs, can't get baby formula, can't take your kid to daycare, can't go get a vaccine. Let's real world this shit. These people are fucking domestic extremists and terrorists, and they need to be treated as such.
Well, we had an interesting call today because we're dealing with the Coots border crossing. I don't know if you guys have been following that. I mean, Ottawa is dominating the news, and I get that, but we have our own situation where for 5 days now they've blockaded the border crossing. So there's like thousands of dollars a day. I'm trying not to exaggerate. A lot of money being held up in cross-border trade and transport from a very small, quite a bit smaller group. And we had a guy call up today. I think his name was Shane. And he was like, if my wife and I'm in the car with my wife right now, if we drove down to the entrance to the airport, we parked our car sideways, threw a F Trudeau flag on the car, and then just stopped traffic to the airport, we'd be face down with cuffs on in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's like, what's the difference? And he's got a good point. He goes, what's the difference between that and what's happening at the Coots border? He goes, I don't understand why people are not
Zero.
cluing in
Nothing.
on this. And I don't know if there's been a development in the border crossing situation. I do know that there was an attempt yesterday from officials to try to remove them, and then they just sort
They
of
did.
moved up
They
a
did.
bit.
They passed something called Bill 1 this morning that says they made it illegal in Alberta for all of the terrible things Alberta has given us, like this fucking convoy. They made it illegal in
Hold
Alberta
on, the
to hold up.
convoy is not just Albertan.
They made it illegal to hold up infrastructure from crossing the border, getting to where it needs to go. So those people
Absolutely.
are legitimately being cleared out, right?
You got all sorts of goods and things
Right.
like that on their way, right? And some of it probably
medical,
perishable too.
food, perishable. I mean, this is the world we live in.
It's bullshit. And
I think part of it has to do with sort of how we perceive danger, and the roots of policing in Canada are inextricably linked to our history of colonialism and, as a result, white supremacy. So when you have a group that police can either relate to or perceive as being reasonable, even if that's not the objective reality, there's a benefit of the doubt that is afforded. That is not the case when you have a different demographic protesting.
I 100% agree. Listen, it's taken me a long time to get to this point.
That.
No, I'll tell you why.
I don't know about blaming
that
the
last
police
video I showed
for being
you.
white, like being.
No, I'm not. And there's and it's not about sort of individual police officers. I think having racist views, because that is kind of immaterial. What I'm referring to is more like the systemic backbone of how policing was introduced in Canada, right? Like, we know that the RCMP had a very important role to play in enforcing the pass system, in taking kids to residential schools. Like, that was what they were created for. Mm-hmm. So how do we separate that history? And it's not that old of a history, right? It's 150 years?
I can't explain
not
why
even
we're
in the 60s they were doing it. The 60s scoop. Yeah, I can, and I do want to touch on what Caryma said. Now, you got 3 white guys and a woman of color on this program, right? You've got 3 white guys that have extreme amount of white privilege. We do. You might not say you have white privilege, but for fuck's sakes, every single white person has white privilege who lives in North America. It's just what you have.
Yeah, you kind of do. Yeah.
What? Oh, you 100% do.
Absolutely.
And to look at.
I did come from trailer trash, though. Like,
I know you didn't. I know. No, you're not.
I had to work for what I have.
I know. I'm not calling white people inherently racist, but as it sits now, through context, we are. We are, because we've never walked in their shoes. And the conversation I'm not hearing, which I want to hear a whole bunch more, is I watched videos of the Wet'suwet'en people in BC have tanks and officers with assault rifles because they were trying to protect ancient burial ground from someone ramming a fucking pipeline through it, say, please don't do this. And because it's money, they go, we're doing it. And by the way, we're sending in cops with guns and tanks to arrest anybody that stops us from doing this. Yeah. That's 6 months ago. Not even. Let's fast forward to Ottawa. Okay? You got a group of legitimate honkies that hate this country because they don't like what's happening to their Western civilization. That is what this is all about. And you know who appreciates that? Western civilization. White guys in uniforms appreciate that. I'm not saying they're all racist, because I can't say that about each individual person when I've never met them. But the facilitation of optically something that is so fucking hypocritical, according to how we've treated Indigenous people in this country, it fucking grosses me out watching this. And here's another reason why it grosses me out. Because Justin Trudeau seems to think that this is just going to go away. It ain't. It'll get worse next time if you don't show some fucking ankle and do something. Today, Aaron O'Toole lost his job with the Conservative Party of Canada. He said, he just lost it like 75-45, by the way, like 20 minutes ago. It was hilarious. Lost his job. He's out. He says it's because he didn't hate gay people enough. The Conservative Party said he was a weak leader. We have a problem with weak leadership across this country. We really, really do. Yeah. And the leadership of this country is allowing these people in this beautiful city that is our nation's capital to be held hostage by fucking uneducated rednecks that just want to hang someone or do something because they're pissed because they won't change.
I'm not taking exception. I'm just saying somebody needs to answer to why they're not being held responsible equal. I agree with the hypocrisy. I just don't know if we should be sticking a racism flag in this thing and going,
I'm saying
they're
it
racist,
reeks
so
of
they
it.
agree with the
It
racism, so they're not
reeks
doing.
of, dude.
I don't know if we
reeks
should.
of it.
I don't
This is
know.
not. But dude, you just
Somebody
said
has
it.
to answer for the hypocrisy.
Tell me if an indigenous group of people taking
I
over
get,
Ottawa
I
like
know
this make
you're
it through
right.
the weekend.
I'm saying you're right. I'm saying you're right. I'm saying I don't think it's because of racism that these situations, this Coots border crossing, what's happening in Ottawa. I don't think we should be saying that out loud right now. I don't know why it's not being
I don't know
handled
what the
the way it
individual
should
one.
be.
The driving force behind people that are this unhappy that they want to wreck shit is these people want to protect Western values. What does that mean? It means they're fucking racist. Sorry, it is. Caryma, am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. And something, I don't remember if it was before or after, before we went on air or not. But the idea of focusing so much on sort of the racist elements is counterproductive because, it then, this is what I took from what you were saying, Lachlan, it sort of alienates everyone else, and then they feel that they've been tarnished with this brush unfairly. So
it's not so much, Caryma, I'm not trying to protect the protesters or the people that are taking part or believe in the protest that don't have a racist bone in their body. I'm not trying to protect them. I'm worried about saying that the reason why we aren't dealing with these protests the way we would deal with an indigenous protest is because of racism. I don't know what the answer is, but I don't think think that's fair because it automatically insinuates that the forces that be the police officers, the people responsible for keeping the peace in Ottawa, are racist themselves and agree with everything that's happening with the protest.
You feed a racist,
I don't know if that's
racist?
fair.
If you feed a racist, are you racist?
I think that racism is at least a partial explanation, right? It may not be the only explanation, perhaps, but I think that it is, at the very least, a partial explanation. And again, our country was founded on genocide and slavery. Slavery existed in Canada as well, right? Less time than the US, but we're not really sort of taught that. We're not, we talk maybe a little bit about the railway and how that was built, but there's racism that's built into the systems that we have and enjoy. When we think about the prairies and how Eastern Europeans were welcomed, and here's this free land, and please, can you cultivate it? And simultaneously, you had Indigenous people being shifted off their land, right? So that is, it's part and parcel. And then if we think about, well, when did that stop? Has it stopped? It's changed its format, and I think that it's become a lot more polite. And there are advancements undeniably with things like the charter, for example. So that's not a perfect solution, and I'd like to think that we are sort of in the right direction of the arc of justice, but it has not evaporated, and I think that we see it sort of manifest here. And my observation from a year now of anti-vax or anti-mask rallies is that this has always been an element of it. I still remember in last year just sort of casually talking to someone, and suddenly we're discussing bill or M103, which was the Islamophobia, let's pass a motion to make sure that we condemn Islamophobia. And he saw that as an affront. And this was just brought up of his own volition, and it was something that was top of mind for him. And, I don't think that he's an outlier. And virtually every legit anti-vax, once vaccines were sort of available, almost every single event has featured the yellow star, swastikas, and in a way that it's an appropriation of that type of suffering, right? Signs referring to slavery, to segregation, to apartheid, and all of this cheapens the actual historical significance of what has happened. And that's being done deliberately, because the more we cheapen it, then, the less it means, the less it matters. And we are drawing, not we, but these false equivalencies are being drawn between these significant historic events and public health mandates. And that's just what we're contending with. So something like, wet, sweat, and protest, that threatens the very fabric of Canada, right? Because if they are successful in asserting their sovereignty, well, gosh, what does that mean for the crown? And what does that mean for, how the country rules? So it's about preserving a status quo. Policing is about preserving a status quo and about preserving corporate interests. We think about the history of cops and union busting. This is nothing new. We see it in different forms. And I think that it to disregard it as an explanation because we are worried about casting individual officers as racists or whatnot, their individual personal views, not to say they don't matter, because that can exacerbate or assist a situation one way or the other, but it's irrelevant to the broader systemic issues.
Mm-hmm. The police, whether or not they individually are racist, you bring up a great point in this situation.
That was very well put, Caryma.
Yeah, you nailed it. Fuck, I love having you on the show. It's awesome. Like a secret weapon, really. And,
secret weapon.
And you travel well. But you bring up a good point, and it's not like we're sitting here talking about whether or not they should be. There's a couple things here. There's behavior and what causes the behavior, right? What energizes this base, and where are these people from, and who are they siding with, right? And we can sit and talk about what's happening today, but Caryma nailed it. You need so much context into why these para-government organizations were set up the way they were, that it would take a long time to explain to somebody what cognitive bias really means when it comes to how you perceive other people according to the color of their skin and what has been ingrained in us. Look at the education system that Canada has provided for people like us in our 40s, Locke in his 60s.
I am not 60 yet.
Yeah. Look at the education
stones
system.
To it, though.
A lot of us this year and last year were shocked to find out that the Indigenous people in this country didn't welcome us with a Thanksgiving dinner when we arrived. Quite the opposite. They're like, let's go hide, and then we just stole their shit and tried to kill everybody. And who did that? Who was charged with doing that? The church and law enforcement in this country. And the government. And so when this group says we don't trust the government, we don't either, right? But what we can do is call out bullshit when we see it. And what I'm seeing in Ottawa, and to Caryma's point, and she has covered a lot of it, more than any other reporter, more than any other news outlet, Caryma and us to a much smaller extent have been trying to show you people what this is. But you have to be willing to see it for what it is as well. And you got to understand the context of how Canada has worked and continues to work against people of color and for honkies and for organizations that were set up to benefit from colonial white suppression.
That's what we need, Dean? You know what we need, Dean? We need somebody to explain
give a spanking.
We need somebody to explain their strategy when it comes to dealing with protests of this size, because I think that would be an interesting breakdown. And I'm not trying to sidestep what Caryma said or disregard what she said. I'm saying I would like to know from the people that are in charge of protecting a large area from something like this, what the decisions are and the strategy and what they pass along to the people on the streets. And I'm not suggesting we go get some guy. I just would like to hear that for my own personal, because I believe that we are going to have to get to a point where someone answers for what's going on in
Us?
Ottawa. And let's just say they do move to Toronto and it gets handled differently. Then why was it handled differently in Toronto? Like, you understand what I'm saying? Because the perception right now is, and I saw a press conference, or I saw a panel with somebody that is in the police force in Toronto, and he basically said, we're not putting up with your shit. Come if you want, but I have a job and an obligation to protect this city, and I'm not messing around. Right?
You know the guy we had on yesterday, Adam, didn't he send you a DM saying, hey, listen, where they're gathering is like 10 minutes from my place. I plan on staying on this one.
I hope no one gets hurt. Okay,
I think we're going there, dude. Like, you know how many eggs you've seen? Like, Caryma, you've seen not just that lone protester, but this cat too. Like, you've seen people legitimately fighting back.
Oh, brilliant!
Let that guy go home, dipshits.
That's hilarious. Good for him.
Are you seeing people? Are you seeing the 90% go? Okay, enough. And to what extent?
I'm definitely hearing more about it. And in fact, once we're done talking, there is a counter protest, or I don't know if it's fairly described as counter. There is a demonstration outside the police headquarters here. So I'm going to go check that out and see, what people are saying.
Placed.
But I think that there's a lot of frustration about the lack of action. And I think, the official sort of talking point is we don't want to incite a riot. But I'm not fully satisfied with that explanation because these trucks didn't just parachute in here and we knew they were coming. So that could have been planned differently, perhaps, executed differently. I'm not a police officer, but there are, I think, some obvious solutions that could have been incorporated. Ottawa is not a city built for trucks, so it's not hard to stop trucks from getting through streets. If there was an inclination to do that. And to my knowledge, there are no permits for this protest. None of the sort of typical protocols have been followed. There's no who's liable if or when something goes wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and there doesn't seem to be, I was watching videos and doing some research this morning about the organizers, is Chris Tamara and Pat King. Those are the three main douche lords that oh, hi, pup. Those are the three main douche lords that have started this thing, and one cannot find the other. It's like this weird game of whack-a-mole. Where's Glenn?
The fuck's Glenn?
Caryma, Glenn took all the money, and if it's not transferred back to the corporate account, there's going to be problems. Glenn stole the money.
Oh my God.
Fucking Glenn.
This is just such a clown show. It's such a clown show, and sitting and watching it, if it was scripted, it would be, it wouldn't pass the test. It would be too.
Do you think that might be part of it, Caryma? It's just such a clown show that they're just like, oh, you know what?
These guys are too useless.
Yeah, when we shut the 7-Elevens down, maybe they'll go home. You know what I mean? I think that might be part of it. I think there's got to be an explanation. There was a miscalculation on this whole thing.
Dude, I keep going back to the same thing. You don't hire Canada's dumbest for the insurrection. I mean, you don't. That's kind of what we've come from.
Why they got away with it.
There's a lot of, people want to get back to their lives, and I think that's true for everyone, not just the folks outside. But if sort of
meanwhile,
a simple idea is presented and accepted, then and that's an easy explanation, and I don't have to think too hard about it, and it kind of aligns with what I feel anyway, then, and it's not that we have political parties really who are pushing for people to think deeper or be more
better,
selfless,
have values, be of character. Do something for the common good. It's all about the party. Speaking of parties,
talk about weak leadership. It starts at the top, and then we're just basically self-governing now.
Dude.
What's going on?
And the fighting back is self-governance, right? I'm very careful about cheering on the eggers and cheering on the people that are going around letting the air out of tires and stuff like that. But I enjoy it. I'm happy for these people that are saying, "Go fuck yourself." There was a group of ladies that blocked a truck. Did you hear about this? What do you know about this, Caryma? Because I think it's one of the great
Only
stories.
what I saw on CBC, but it was just these three women.
Oh, that's fake news. We can't trust that.
No, it's real. This is real.
And they were, I don't want to say older, like they were probably in their 50s maybe. And they basically were just like, yeah, fuck this. We're going to go block these trucks because the cops are useless.
Good
And they
for
did.
them.
They
Good for
did.
them.
They did.
Oh,
It was
Betty's.
fucking
Why do
incredible.
we
to
always
watch.
just pick 50? Are you guys doing this to fuck with me?
Hey, Caryma,
Oh,
you
they're-
said they were
they're
older ladies,
50s.
and he's over 50, so way to go. Can we talk just for a quick second about this little nugget
Sorry.
that happened today? Chuckles McJesus, otherwise known as Aaron O'Toole, former leader of the
We call
Conservative
him
Party,
Archie Bunker.
lost his job, 75 votes to 45 votes. Do you buy the reason? So he's out. This is the weekend after what could be one of the worst psyops campaign in the history of politics. There's O'Toole now meeting with all these truckers that aren't truckers, taking part in this fucking weird coup for idiots. And do you think that's why he lost his job, or do you think
No.
it's because of the reason which he has stated, Caryma, which was, I laughed. He's like, well, it's because I passed the banning of conversion therapy with the Trudeau government. There's the hard right anti-gays hate me, so that's why I lost my job. That's what he said. What do you think? I would love your thoughts.
I think it's because he has no real convictions and is a flip-flopper. And if he were able to at least take a position and stick with it, even if it was unpopular, that garners some respect, but he can't even do that basic step. So he is spineless, and I think that that's why he got removed. I've described him as mashed potatoes without salt. Like, what are we even looking at when we look at Aaron O'Toole? What does he stand for? Yeah. He wanted to keep his job, I think. That was his priority. And if I'm not mistaken, he comes from sort of a legacy family in politics. So this is a career for him. It's not about public service. And I don't think that, that's necessarily what was top of mind of the other MPs when they were voting, because I'm not sure how many of them are in it for public service. But sort of as an outsider just watching this, it's because what does he actually bring to the party? What sort of flavor does he add? If it was possible for someone to be more bland than Andrew Scheer, we got it. So.
And you nailed it. That's what I was going to say. He had an inability. He spent all his time trying to figure out what he should say instead of just saying what he thought he should say. And it was so fucking blatantly obvious.
Hard to win.
I think it's hard to haul somebody out on the carpet for that when all our leaders are like that.
Yeah,
Look
exactly.
At Trudeau, like that idiot, that guy, he goes and sits and reads numbers before he ever makes some sort of decision. The reason why he wasn't standing out on the porch of the ledge with a megaphone and doing what I thought he should do, get off my lawn, is because he was sitting there waiting for somebody to tell him what to say. I think
he's so ineffectual. I don't disagree with you. I think he's so weak that he just doesn't want to cause any more problems. And instead of taking care of the problem, we're here, right? We know that Aaron O'Toole is a greasy fuck who's spineless, who lost his job today because he's a spineless, greasy fuck. But
is he greasy though?
I think so fucking greasy. When you pull from every aspect, he's so greasy. Pull from every group and aspect and try things, and it means you don't have values. You're just a fucking waif.
I think he fails at nuance. The most charitable sort of interpretation is that he tries to have some semblance of nuance and tries to kind of strike balance or appease, and then just fails at that. What did he bring to the party?
Nothing.
Huge L, bunch of huge L's.
We fuck all.
He's the L king. I mean,
can I read
what
this tweet?
Yeah, please.
So wait, the truckers came to dissolve Parliament, cost Trudeau his job, and instead they've dissolved the opposition and cost O'Toole his. Keep on trucking.
Well done.
The tweet I saw this morning.
Caryma, would you ever run for politics and get into politics?
Please don't.
I don't think that that's really for me. Not in the way that things are currently set
You're
up.
too
right?
normal. You
Yeah.
have too
Have you
much
been
control
asked?
of common sense. I think it would be a real problem with you.
Have you been asked?
Like by a party? No.
Yeah. Have you been followed by any parties
What if the
on Twitter?
marijuana party wanted you to run?
Yeah. What if the weed party wanted you to
They'd
run?
have to
and
change
they're
their name to the cannabis party.
like, okay. I'm in.
Okay.
We
I'll
don't.
be your-
Yeah. But
I'll
if
be the
we did,
finance
then
minister.
I'm into
I'll be
it. If maybe the Communist Party could have like a resurgence, and then we're talking.
Imagine how mad the Alberta people will be if we jump up behind the Communist Party just for fun. Because then
Well-
they could say, we knew you were a communist.
As an asshole move, a couple of years ago, I joined the Green Party, and no one saw the humor in it. So I canceled my subscription or whatever the hell it is. They wanted another $10 from me this year. I'm like,
Didn't get
better not. No one got the joke.
Yeah. Well, listen, Caryma, I want to thank you again for spending an hour kind of breaking down what you saw, what you captured in Ottawa. Absolutely fearless. Your mind is like a whip. Really appreciate you kind of just explaining what you've seen and then giving context for everybody, because I think the goal here is a couple of things, right? We're not here to just beat the shit out of a small group of racists that are trying to make us feel uncomfortable.
We're not.
We're here.
Because it
No,
seems a little
I
like
know,
you're
it
doing
feels like
that
that.
a bit at times.
What we are is here to have a conversation about changing and the changes that we've seen. Like, we've seen major changes in this country. We want to show you that. And then you can make your decision. Do you want to still be a part of this country? Do you want to follow good people that have values and character that want to show you unbiased shit? Or do you want to continue to live this weird life where you're like, I agree with him because he has conservative in his bio, and I don't know that he's a racist, and I don't care if he's a racist as long as he's going down the same stupid, shitty road I'm going down. I'll take him with me, because that's kind of what we're seeing here, right? It's all of that. It's tribalism, and it's tribalism on the ultravax side. But this tribalism is so fucking dangerous to me, and I'm watching it, and I'm documenting it, and I'm trying to figure it out. And I am running out of excuses for white people in this country. I really am. And I don't mean white people that think like us and are progressive and understand that, the color of someone's skin and where they're from and their history and their culture isn't a footnote because we managed to take the whole country over from a group of people who were here first. That is not how we're supposed to be as individuals. We're supposed to be here for the greater good, doing what's best for humanity. And when you see a group of people that are doing the fucking horn honking and trying to hurt people and trying to stop progress in this country, they don't want what's best for this country. And that's what we're trying to show you. And Caryma has been an absolute hero when it comes to actually shining a light in those dark corners. So we really appreciate you. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. I
Talk to you
will
soon.
see you soon.
You got it.
Good to see you, Caryma.
Hi, Caryma.
At
Thank you.
Caryma Rules on Twitter. You can go and donate to her GoFundMe as well.
We never watched the video of the girls in front of the truck.
Oh, yeah. This is a good one. Caryma took this one, too. This is just another reason why I'm proud that I didn't go down there. The chicks. Only our
that
best,
wasn't
guys.
the video I was talking about. I thought there
Which
was
one?
some ladies that were protesting
Standing in front of the truck.
Yeah, the 50-year-old.
Oh, I don't have a video. No, I don't have of the old ladies. You mean? No, I don't have a video of it. Just these ladies that were interviewed on CBC, and they're like, "Yeah, we stopped a couple trucks today." Fuck.
I thought
them.
we were going to show the video. I'm sorry, but thank you
Well,
for showing
you got
me.
you got that lovely thing parade dancing around there. She had more
Listen.
rolls in a bakery shop, for Christ's sakes.
You know what I love about her is she's not feeling the cold at all.
No.
No, well, dude, she's got some layers, and I'm not talking golden.
Can we critique her dance moves though?
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
for sure can. Yeah.
I haven't wanted to get up and dance with anyone in a long time until today.
Oh yeah. Look at this hot.
I think I would have gone up there.
I might.
Would you
have
have danced with her?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
look
why
at
do
that.
they always drink Gatorade?
Well, I don't think it's Gatorade in that bottle, bud. I think it's
Yeah.
mixed. Like, generally speaking, and you know this, Bondzee, any
Moonshine.
adult you see walking around with a Gatorade has a little something in that bottle too, doesn't it?
Sure does, bud. Sure does.
Yeah.
Man, how can they handle the horns? All that.
Dude, it's
Like,
maddening. Even just
I
the
had
videos
PTSD
alone are enough.
from doing this podcast, but that might be something else, right? That may be James.
It might be. Bonds, what do you think of this? Chris Rook joins us here, head of production. We're going to talk about Brian Flores and the crazy story out of Miami. This fucking Brian Flores story is crazy, and we'll get to it in just a second. Bondzee, what do you make of this whole thing? Like you're kind of got one foot in the anti-vax train too, right? So
I don't know. No, I don't. I was with a lot of people on the weekend up in my snowmobiling trip that every last one of them wanted to be in Ottawa. They were all for it. They were all watching on their phones. That when we'd stop and stuff, they'd all be checking it out and watching the TikTok to see all the convoy videos and stuff. But listen, I'm not one of them. I am for the people that went up there for a proper cause and did it properly. I'm not for the rest of the asshats that were there to party and do coke and disrespect our country and our capital city and parading around on the memorial and stuff. It's just, the fuck is wrong with people? Like, it's enough. They should have been arrested on the spot and not been allowed to get away with that kind of stuff. So that's where I sit and how I feel about it. They're fucktards.
Yeah, that's a good point. I like that word.
It's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate that you get a situation that might actually have some merit, right? Like let's just have that discussion quickly, right? That's why I was torn about it when we were talking about it at the beginning. I think, and you've mentioned it, Dean. You said it how many times now? You've said, listen, if you put the two of us in a room, somebody from that, we'd probably agree on a lot of things. But you got to find someone that can have an intelligent conversation that isn't just doing it because they hate the destruction of Western civilization as they know it. Bondzee. Like if it had been something of merit, it would have been, I would have thought better about why they were there, but it didn't. That's the whole issue, though, brother. That's the whole issue, and I go back to it sometimes just to kind of like bring myself back to reality. Is that, do we get caught up as people who are vaccinated, believe in science, believe in the greater good? Do we get caught up in the fuck you? There's no alternative solution other than our solution, dude. About 3 weeks ago, I put up a post about other therapeutics you should be worried, you should look into if you're not vaccinated, because I just want this shit to be over. Right. And then I did another post saying, hey, listen, I get it. If you don't understand it, I'm not going to take a strip off you. This has not for 1 second for me been about vaccines, not one, or mandates or restrictions, because I hate the restrictions. I don't give a fuck about the mandates as long as we're through this thing and everybody's healthy and we can get some science behind us that says, okay, it's time to go out and make a personal decision. Right. Like, that's where I'm at. I'm at that point now when it comes to the pandemic. And this might shock a lot of people, but I think in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we in Ontario and across this province, should the numbers dictate it, we should move to a system where, listen, it's dealer's choice, because the way I'm protecting me and my family isn't going to change. Right? Dean, you said this 2 months ago. Right. I've said it. I was trying to promote it when Best Summer Ever came down the pipe. We've had moments. All of us have had moments of, okay, I think maybe the mandates aren't working, and who are the mandates protecting at this point? And is the conversation, are we past the point of being able to convince the people that aren't going to get the vaccine? Are we past that? Like, let's just move on. Let's open things up. And I never cared about that, dude. I never cared. Like, Chris, you're unvaccinated. How many times have I called you to tell you to get vaccinated or else?
Zero,
because I don't give a fuck.
I called you and was like, do I need to be vaccinated to work here?
But I
truly did. Listen, and you're like, no, you're good, man.
Let's point out, Rook has a legitimate medical exemption. Yeah. Right. He has a legitimate medical exemption because a doctor legitimately told him not to get vaccinated. On February the 10th, he's got an appointment because he's trying to get vaccinated. And even if he doesn't, I don't care. Like, if I'm sitting next to someone at dinner and they're not vaccinated and they go, hey, bud, guess what? I'm not vaccinated. I know who you are. I'll be like this. Whatever. Fucking finish your meal. I could care less.
Yeah.
You should get the J&J. It worked for Bondzee.
I think so. I think that's what I was aiming for anyways. Long lineups to get it. This is the crazy thing.
So what happens if you get the vaccination with your medical issue? What's going to happen, Rook?
They don't know.
They don't know. Fuck.
Yeah. And I also had COVID. So apparently after you get COVID, you're not supposed to get vaccinated for a certain amount of time as well.
Yeah, it's like 6 weeks.
If anybody knows
months,
what that answer is, can you let me know? Because I got to let Jimmy know. Because Jimmy wants to get his booster, and he just got COVID, and we were actually just talking about it this morning in the car ride in.
I'll be finding out on the 10th.
Okay, yeah. Can you let me know?
Yep.
Because he got it at the beginning
around.
of January. I said to him, I think it's 6 to 8 weeks.
Like
but
that.
again, it's all there's no real confirmation out there about how long you should wait. We looked on the Alberta Health webpage too to see if there was any like recommendations if you did get COVID and you wanted to, because he didn't get his third shot. He didn't get the booster. He was going to get it, and then he got COVID. And then I was like, don't go get the booster right now, because I've heard you can have a really serious reaction to it if you get the booster on the heels of getting COVID.
Yeah. You can. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can. Chris, nice to see you. Thanks for
see
being
you guys too.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
Crazy story out of Miami. And like one of these stories where it's like, oh, it's an NFL story. Oh, there's racism. Oh. And then when you start reading it, right? And we've been talking about, unfair business practices when it comes to the color of people's skin. But you wrote an article, Brian Flores is suing the NFL and Miami Dolphins Giants for racism in the hiring process. And he brought the receipts. Holy fuck, did he ever, Chris? You wrote a great piece about this. Tell me about it a little bit.
Lots to unpack here, guys. So first off, I think we should just start with Brian Flores getting fired from his job after winning 7 games with the Dolphins and having back-to-back winning seasons. I think a lot of people were confused by that because the team loved him. You thought the organization loved him, and then he was just fired out of nowhere. And then this is where things kind of get interesting because coming out of that firing, he was sort of the belle of the ball, and everybody thought that he was going to be getting a ton of offers. Denver, Bears, Giants, he was going to be the guy.
He didn't get any of them.
Then as things started to roll out, the Bears found their guy, the Giants found their guy, Denver still looking, but doesn't seem like that's going to work either. And then sort of what kind of came down is that he had an interview with the Giants. And apparently the Giants had already found their head coach prior to doing the interview, which is Brian Daboll of the Buffalo Bills. And then that's sort of when he decided to take this public and sort of open up about his experience being sort of hired in the NFL, because according to him, so there's this rule in the NFL called the Rooney Rule. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it.
Yeah.
The Rooney Rule is the National Football League policy that requires league teams to interview ethnic minority candidates for head coaching and senior football operations jobs. The rule, named after Dan Rooney, was created in 2002 after the firings of head coaches Tony Dungy, Dennis Green. At the time, where both of them had winning records. So they basically filed the suit, got the Rooney Rule put in just to give black coaches, GMs, executives a fair shake. So he basically had an interview in, I think, 2019 with the Denver Broncos, where John Elway, surprise, surprise, this cat showed up for the interview.
Yeah.
Big surprise.
Yeah. According to Flores, when he went and interviewed a couple of years ago in Denver, the entire team that was interviewing him was like super shit-faced and wasted. And they're like, whatever. Yeah. So because... And that speaks to the Giants' opportunity, is that there were no opportunities. It was legitimately just interview the black guy and just to say you interviewed the black guy.
So they were just ticking a box. They had already made the decision.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah,
so
and I think if not, Bill Belichick actually sent Brian Flores a couple emails saying congratulations, but he sent him to the wrong Brian.
Yeah.
He's like, he said it.
So Bill Belichick, as you know, isn't very tech savvy. He calls it snap face, and he's not the most tech savvy guy. And as soon as this story came out, I wrote in my article that a lot of people were like, that's not Bill. That's doctored. But he actually did what I like to call a boomer move, which our good friend Lachlan does all the time. He signed his text
not
message.
A boomer.
He signed his text message with his name.
Clear that up.
He signed his text message with his name. Yeah. So he sent the text and said BB beside the text message. So you know it's real.
I do that.
You do. Yeah. You've done it before.
But the text message to Brian Flores, the black fired coach from the Miami Dolphins, and believe me, the story gets weirder. So hang on. The black coach got a note from Bill Belichick saying congrats on the gig, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to get it. I'm interviewing tomorrow. And then Bill Belichick's like, oop, sorry, I was texting the wrong Brian. I meant to text the white Brian.
No, he didn't say that.
Well, he didn't say the white
No.
Brian, but that's what the
He's
text
basically like,
effectively
might
means.
as well.
you have the wrong Brian. And then he's like, oh, yes. In fact, I do have the wrong Brian.
Sorry.
So
there, yeah.
what happened after that? Because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Flores gave like this unfucking believable interview where he insinuated,
I haven't
alleged.
seen this.
Oh, dude, do you have the?
So
do you
this
have
is
the
where.
video? Okay,
Is
so
this
I'll play
where
it for
he
you.
talks about the 100K?
No,
Yeah.
this clip is him talking about the basically racism in the hiring process.
Okay, so let's watch that, and then do you have the 100K clip?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so let's watch this clip first. Watch this.
You filed this lawsuit, which you are aware is obviously going to have enormous repercussions. What was the tipping point for you, through your experiences, that made you feel this was something you needed to do?
Well, I mean, just, I've been on, several interviews over the years. And look, I mean, we didn't have to file a lawsuit for the world to know that there's an issue from a hiring and firing practices in the National Football League.
Why, that's correct. A lot of people have pointed this out. So why did you feel you needed to do this?
Because we need change. That was the number one reason. And I know there's a sacrifice, there's risk to that, but at the end of the day, we need change. We need change. I know many very capable black coaches, some of my staff who I know, if given an opportunity or when given an opportunity, are going to go and do a great job on an interview. And I would just hate for that to be a waste. And I think we need to change the hearts and minds of the people making those decisions. That's why we filed the lawsuit.
Who are those people? Who specifically do you think needs the change?
The owners of the NFL.
Yeah, owners of the NFL needed to change. So, completely agree. But the next part of
I
this,
find it hard to believe that there's any racism in the NFL.
crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy because he's put his whole career on the line
He'll
to
never
basically
work again.
enact change, because the NFL, as everyone knows, the owners club is an old boys club.
Yeah.
So good luck getting another job being a whistleblower.
Yeah.
How did that turn out for Colin Kaepernick? Not very well.
Not great. Not with the NFL.
I
No.
thought he was up for another quarterback job this year.
No, they gave it to Blake Bortles instead because he's way better.
Literally, remember that run shortly after they wouldn't hire him.
Yeah.
And they had a whole string and every time his name came up, they had a whole string of injuries. I mean, literally, they had the guy from fucking Subway making your sandwiches. They got
Lining up
him
the quarterback.
chucking the ball.
Yeah. They're like, hey, Colin Kaepernick's like, hello. And they're
Clearly,
like,
this
go
guy's
find the
gonna
guy.
be better.
Get a gas attendant. Anybody else? It's not him.
I'm sure.
The hot dog guy out
I
front.
saw a 6'4" kid washing cars the other day.
Go
Like,
get him.
go get him. Go get him. What about Colin Kaepernick? I think this guy. I think
Oh,
the
it's
car
fucked.
wash kid's got an arm on him. You should have saw him chucking a towel.
Dude, he's our guy. The really damning part of this, though, was Brian Flores is making an allegation that the Dolphins owner is named Stephen Ross, notorious douchebag. Stephen Ross offered him a bunch of money to just lose games. Watch this.
I don't want to put words in your mouth. You were working too hard. You were doing too much in the effort to win. He was trying to get you to do a little bit less and said, I'll give you $100,000 for every game
Exactly
you lose.
that.
Wow.
But that's just not my DNA. That was never going to happen.
So what did you say to him?
That's never going to happen. I didn't come here. Look, I'm always going to try to win. That's who I am. And I owe that to the players in the locker room, but also the support staff that's in the building, who work extremely hard. If you've been in an NFL building, everyone in that building, his job is important. And everyone works hard to try to get on the same page and move in the same direction. And I felt like we were building that type of culture. So I would never do that to them, And at the end of the day, I think it was the reason why I'm no longer there.
Who does he want? Is there somebody he was going after?
No,
Right.
I think just everybody.
Everybody. He wants.
I mean for the draft pick.
Tua. It was the tank for Tua season. And that was like a hashtag that was in the Dolphins that they wanted a tank for Tua, and it was a really heavy draft class. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
And here's the funny part of that is that the Dolphins are like pretty close to parting company with Tua because he's not as good as they thought he was going to be when they drafted him. So they literally, like the owner of the Dolphins, literally tried to pay his coach.
So that wouldn't have been this year. That
games.
was last year then.
That
2019.
2019, I think?
2019.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2019,
2019.
2 years ago.
And the crazy thing too is like this goes a lot deeper, like Dean said, because not only are we now talking about bribery of coaches, we're talking about fixing games.
Mhm.
And for a league that's so involved in sports betting, I think they have about 7 sports books now that do all their betting. That's not a good look for the NFL.
It's odd. I don't know anybody that bets on NFL.
Yeah. Is this going to look? Is there going to be huge repercussions for the owner of the Dolphins now that this has come out?
No, I don't think so, because the thing is,
not what I read today. I read that he's fucked. Like if any of this is true, he is super fucked. It's like
it's like Pete Rose in
Chicago
baseball
Black
fixing
Sox
games.
or exactly. Yeah.
You don't think the NFL and its owners are going to rally around him because they know the ramifications and
Brooks might be
trickle-down
right.
effect?
They may. This has got something to do with race. Like I go back to the Washington football team, formerly the Redskins, and their cheerleader thing with Dan Snyder, who like legitimately taped chicks in the dressing room, like and somehow John Gruden got fired for being racist out of the whole thing. Like the NFL does a really good job of framing people and protecting their owners. Like
That's
it's
why John
fucking
Gruden
unbelievable.
was so mad.
They released a statement this
You
afternoon
fired
as well.
me, you racist dicks.
They released a statement about all this as well this afternoon, which we have.
Hey,
What did they say?
Oh,
Can we
cool.
see it? Let's put it up. This is a statement from the NFL on the Brian Flores suit. NFL and our clubs deeply committed to ensuring equitable employment practices and continue to make progress in providing equitable opportunities throughout organizations. Diversity is core to everything we do. That's funny. And there are a few issues in which our club's internal leadership need to spend more time. We will defend against these claims, which are without merit. So they're already saying, yeah, I guess so. They're probably going to rally around Stephen Ross, that douchey old rich guy, and go, let's protect the shield. Let's do everything we can to protect the white and the shield.
Because like
protect the white.
This could go to Congress, like depending on where this is tried, because he has basically, filed already a class action complaint against the NFL. And like Bill Belichick's going to be deposed. Stephen Ross is going to be deposed. Like this is the NFL.
And they won't lie at all under oath.
Oh, I don't think so.
Did you see that? Put that clip, that lawsuit visual up again. Did you see the comment? This is what Bill Belichick said when he realized he texted the black Brian. Sorry, I fucked this up. I double checked and misread the text. I think they are naming Brian Daboll. I'm sorry about that, Bill Belichick.
Whoops. And that's basically
So
the
you're not
smoking gun,
supposed to
right?
sign your name at the end of texts.
No.
Go ahead. The Giants also released a statement because
they're named.
So this is they're named, and this is the funniest part to me. They just basically said that they hired the guy who was more qualified, which is an absolute crock of shit because Brian Daboll has never been a head coach. And the biggest case that I can make for Brian Flores is he had 2 back-to-back winning seasons for an owner who wanted him to lose.
Tried to pay him to lose.
Tried to pay him to lose, and he still had back-to-back winning seasons for the Dolphins.
But he's not qualified enough.
But he's not qualified. No. But the offensive coordinator for the Bills,
White,
who ran the wrong offense for Josh Allen, go ahead, take the job.
Mm-hmm. White.
It's
weird, man. It's a fucking. We live in a weird time. Like we talked about racism all day today and intentions, right? Like, might not be able to see it. It might not carry that hard R for racism. But my God, come the fuck on.
No, this one does.
This one stinks. If it
there's a hard R
here. Like a duck, it's a duck.
Yeah.
The conversation we had previous to this, I was trying to protect what I don't know might be some strategy from the Ottawa police. That's all I was saying, right?
You're leaving that door open that it was more strategy than virulent racism that's preventing them from arresting white supremacists. Yes.
Hopefully that's the case. I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt that there was some sort of thought behind the scenes to keep the protest. But you're right. They need to answer for the hypocrisy of how things are being. This one a little harder to. You can throw a hard R on this one, I think.
Oh yeah.
And apparently the lawyers that Brian Flores has hired are very, very well respected.
Okay, well, listen, Rook.
Even though the NFL lawyers,
here's what happens in a case with Flores. There's a lot of conversations right now happening behind the scenes to help this guy out. He will not just have, he will have a team of fucking people.
Do you know how this works?
Actually, what's that?
You know how it works in the NFL? How it works in the NFL is some people that are friendly with Brian Flores that are also friendly with the NFL and are stakeholders to some extent, so they have something to protect, are probably in Brian Flores' ear right now going, dude, they'll give you like $70 million to fuck off because we don't care. Just take the money and fuck off.
That John Gruden, when he said he was going to sue, that went away pretty quick, eh?
Right away.
Like that.
Yep.
Like that.
This
isn't about laying it on Front Street and fixing racism in the NFL. This is about protecting the brand. And you know that. We all know that.
This is not going away, though. This one doesn't smell like one.
Well, the guy sacrificed his entire career with this move, right?
Because he's not coaching in the NFL again.
Never.
I hate to say it, but and a
the
bunch of
Essex
other
could use him though.
A bunch of other coaches are coming forward and saying that it's like all true. Hugh Jackson came out and basically said, well, our owner, Jimmy Haslam, when he was with the Browns, wasn't angry when we were losing. I think they need to de-incentivize the draft because people tank in the back half of the season on purpose.
Yeah.
So,
I think it happens to a certain extent in all leagues. I think the NFL is the most egregious example of it, but it happens. Like I have a strong feeling that they're gonna whisper in Carey's ear, "Hey, does your knee still hurt? Are you sure you want to go on the ice today, buddy? Let's go get a sandwich." Like, I have a strong feeling they're going to keep Price on the bench for the remainder of the season. I mean that
happens in all sports.
Yeah, technically that's a bit of manipulation,
collusion
in the
Yeah.
draft. Yeah.
The big thing is the betting, and basically it's fixing. You're fixing games.
Yeah, how many people lost money
because of it?
Well, and then that dude, like
no one bets for the Dolphins
on NFL.
Maybe in a parlay, but not like straight up.
Not taking them straight up.
Man, I know some degenerate gamblers right now that are seriously chewing on their steering wheel, listening to this in their car.
That's where all my money went.
Well, I'm sure they'll look back on some of the bets perhaps and be like,
I could have won $129.
It's all those guys that missed out on that crazy 8-team parlay because the fucking Dolphins tanked on purpose. And they're like, I almost made $500,000 on Proline, but Stephen Ross killed it for me. I'm going to fucking get him.
And also, imagine the Miami Dolphins locker room right now. Like, you hear this as the team, you lose that team.
They're done. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Which will be hard
so much
to watch.
here.
There's so much, and it's just beginning. And happy Super
Dolphins.
Bowl week, guys!
Yeah, happy Super Bowl week is right. Yeah, really excited to see
I like.
So, do you think he'll take a huge pay to walk away and shut his mouth after? You really don't, even for like $70 million.
I heard an interview this morning that said anybody that knows this guy knows that he's a man of principle, and clearly,
I hope so.
The interview on Get Up is 19 minutes long. If you watch all 19 minutes of it, he's not. I don't think there's any amount of money you can throw at him to shut his mouth. But hey, I could be wrong.
So it's exciting,
isn't it?
Could go away.
It's exciting. See, here's the thing, guys. When I go back to white privilege, we've never experienced anything like this. Not one of us. Not one of us have been looked at like we're a token human being. Brian Flores has been dealing with it for 50 fucking years, right? Like, seriously. And there he is right now, an excellent head coach in the NFL. And they're like, you're too good. You got to go.
We'll hire Jim Harbaugh from Michigan and say he can't beat Ohio State.
I have an interesting story about that. Because we live in a world right now where you have to, and I think there's something inherently wrong with this. And I'll use an example here that I drive into work with every day. So we have to account for minorities and people with disabilities and anybody that might be different at all in your hiring practices. And I don't know how else to put it, but you get credit almost. Help me out here, Dean. You're letting me flounder here.
What do you mean? Like credit for no, dude. I'll tell you a story. This is fucking how companies in Canada and North America have worked. When I worked at The Edge, we hired a blind guy, and they were like, "That's awesome. Now you just have to hire a black person or person of color. We'll get financial credit for it from the CRTC, and we'll be off to the races."
Okay, so,
oh yeah, dude.
So, you have to people that represent any, like, there's boxes, and if you can click one.
Yeah,
so,
they use it to show how fucking woke they are. Companies use it to show how cool they are with, like, oh, we hire blind people, black people all the time.
Yeah.
Here's our roster of individuals that we think are less of an individual. Have a look. That's what they do.
So Jimmy's a little person, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And there's a host of things that comes with Jimmy, right? Like,
a really awesome Star Wars show.
Yeah, a great Star Wars podcast, a weird smell.
There's a ton of things that come with being friends with Jimmy. And I legitimately had a conversation with somebody, and they said to me, he's got to fill in one of these boxes, no?
And did he?
Yes. Yes.
I'm like, I am not going to talk. I'm not going to sit Jimmy down
and say, we need to find something wrong with you because it looks good for the company. So which one is it? Smell. Weird. You can't buy normal pants. Can't reach up to the buffet. Have a hard time going on rides in Wonderland. What is it? What can we do here that'll make us look like we care?
Goes, I'm just a fucking dude. I'm not kicking anything. Good for him.
Put that paper away.
Yeah. Oh, I hate that too.
I can't believe they pulled me aside to see what his response would be. I swear to God. I mean, I got a whole list of things here. Couldn't we find something?
We had a black traffic girl named Adwa who's still one of my dear friends, and I love her to death. And I remember specifically having a conversation with my boss at The Edge, and he's like, "Hey, it's a good thing we got a black girl on the show, right? We get credit for that." And I'm like, "Oh my God."
Maybe keep that one to yourself, boss man.
You didn't just say it loud, did you?
I did. I went like this.
What's that now?
Come again? People are now assets in the radio industry. Is that what we're talking about? And you need to collect as many black people as you possibly can. Yeah. What kind of credit? How many boxes can we check? It's like, can you ask that black person you work with if they're autistic as well? Because that'll really help us out.
Jimmy, listen, I should have approached this differently. I should have sat him down. I said, you need to pull leverage on this. Get him to buy beer. Get him to buy a 48-pack a week. I'll tick that box right there. But I want beer delivered to my house every Friday.
Oh, yeah, dude. You could have Alzheimer's. We could give you all kinds of stuff, but get something in return, right?
He should have yanked on that. I'm telling you.
Could have been a win-win.
I totally agree. There's two ways you can look at something like this. It's offensive or what's in it for me. I tend to do the latter.
This is awful. But for years, I've been trying to get him to get the handicap placard for the car.
I hate to say this, but does he qualify for that?
Yeah. I said it. No one's going to question you if you walk in and ask for it. He goes, I don't even fucking drive, and I'm just doing it for you.
But
so you get better parking in St. Albert, you dick.
I just really want to park right in front of the beer store.
Yeah.
That's what I told him. I said we'd never have to worry about parking when we go get beer.
Dude, I would like to, this is going to sound equally as bad. I'd like to take Jimmy to an amusement park so we can get to the front of the line.
He's not allowed on any of the rides.
He's not tall enough.
Jimmy and Dean do Wonderland. Yeah. Forget about the fast pass.
Go on the Ghoster Coaster.
Oh my God.
Little fucker. I love him so much.
The thing is, you can do this with Jimmy. We actually had that handicap placard conversation on the air the other day.
That's just a real world solution. That's just something he should do for you because you're his friend.
And I pointed that out. I said, Grant, of course, brings it up whenever he can that I tried to get Jimmy to get a handicap placard for my Subaru.
Think of all the places you could park.
That'd be great.
And I'd use it too.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. I'd borrow it from you. I'd get you to send it to me for the weekend.
They give you like 4 of them, right? How many cars you got?
How many cars you got? 30. You can say you got 30 cars. I'd sell them for $1,000 a piece and make 29 grand and just be happy as a fucking
we're
pig and
all
shit.
going straight to hell. That's another ticket, and another stamp in the passport.
You know what? If Jimmy was here, he would agree with all this.
Oh no, he loves it. He loves it. Yeah.
Anyway, Bondzee,
Yes, sir.
we're gonna lose you in a couple days.
Well, in Ontario, yes, but I'll still be available. They got Wi-Fi down there, so we'll be all right. Off to Nicaragua
Something
on
tells
Friday.
me Nicaraguan Wi-Fi is not
Could be very pixelated.
super reliable.
Sketch.
You'd be surprised, actually. It is actually pretty good, and there's different levels, of course, just like here. And no, I mean, listen, a lot of people live there as expats now, and they work online, and they have to rely on, pretty decent internet. And believe it or not, it is pretty good there, actually. It really is.
So what's your plan?
We're going there for I hate the winter, dude. It's not my
Don't
jam.
confuse things here,
And
Dean. Why would you
proved it
ask
last
for
weekend?
a plan?
I went snowmobiling, and it was a fucking nightmare. I was freezing cold. It's not my jam. I don't want to be in Canada for the winters. I just don't like it. So we're going down there for a few months. We're gonna get some great content. I still have my full-time job, voice acting every day. So yeah, I'm just going to chill out down there and work in the warmth and on a beach.
You don't
instead
sound
of
good
on
right
a
now. Are
snowmobile.
you worried that you might have your 5th bout of
Oh,
COVID?
no, he got juice last night.
No, he was off the piss for a month, and then he went snowmobiling. And you know what you do when you go snowmobiling? You
drink
fucked.
to stay warm.
Well, I didn't really drink a shit ton of snowmobiling because I was afraid. I'd never been on a snowmobile, so I really didn't get gunnered over the weekend. I went out last night with some friends in Toronto, and man, we lit it up. We kind of had a fun time. We went to some bar. We had I probably got COVID now because we had a drink called a volcano, and you share it. It comes in this massive bowl, and it's got a copious amount of alcohol in it, and you each got a straw, and you just sip out of it.
Oh, that's good right at the end of a fucking pandemic. That's great. Share a big
Good
drink.
job. Oh, you got the big share drink, the big margarita drink.
Yeah, we did.
Atta boy.
Yeah, it was called a volcano.
What do all the ladies I know?
So you had a mass
to travel.
So you got fucked up, and you're a little hoarse this morning, but you're feeling okay. You're all right. You're
Yeah, I feel
good. You're
great.
ready to go. Why is Lachlan then have the number
Bondzee
33 on a
knows.
dry erase
Oh,
board?
I know why.
Can you tell me why?
I don't
I
know
know
either.
why.
I really don't. Maybe that's the amount of fucking days you've put up your what do you call it, yoga nonsense on
That's
social
how many
media.
days straight. And you told me. What did you tell me?
How many
Couple
days
weeks
been
ago.
off the sauce, fam?
No,
Yeah,
he was
I
one
was
or
up-
2 days behind me on the yoga and said, "I'm going to keep up with you. I'm not going to drink for the full year."
I didn't say that. I didn't say those words. But listen, I went on a pretty good run, and I had a hiccup last night. It's not a big deal, and
It's not a hiccup if you had a good time and you feel
I had a
fine.
great
You
time.
don't do it every day.
Yeah,
you're
you're
gonna be fine.
good. I just want to point out that I'm still winning. That's all.
that's it. Locke, you're always winning in life. Listen, look at you, handsome. You're 60. You're doing good.
Right. I know, right?
It's true. We actually polled the audience about Lachlan's age.
Oh, you're
Did
such a
Lachlan apply
cock.
for a senior's discount? We
Yeah.
54% said yes.
Oh, you know what? The
30%.
first fucking day I turned 55, I'm going to
Old man
Denny's,
yells at cloud.
and I am getting me the 4:00 lunch.
Attaboy.
The shopper's discount is pretty sweet. You'll like
Yeah.
that one.
You're going to get
All
the
of a
early
sudden,
bird.
Locke's a regular Safeway shopper. Why? It's the Tuesday discount.
Embrace it.
Yeah,
You know
I
what you
will.
could do? You know what you
Trust
could do
me.
is you could go and buy things for 10% off at Safeway, Shoppers, etc. Come back and sell them to your younger friends for full pop. Make 10% on literally everything you make. You
It's
can
not
pass
a
along your
horrible
savings
idea.
and
It's a
turn
little
it into a
business.
profit
All right.
business. Yeah,
This
I like
block of cheese is going to cost you $24, Bondzee.
With the supply chain issues, man, you got a little business going here.
I think
Dude,
There you
so.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should go to Ottawa and protest just to make sure it all happens. It'd be a lot of fun. Yeah,
I almost quit
by the
my
way-
job to go sell hot dogs.
it's not a terrible idea. By the way, I just saw this and I found it interesting, so we'll end with this. Ottawa Police Chief Peter Slowly says the force is now aware of significant element of the United States funding and organizing the demonstrations. What did we say?
Wow.
He said they've converged on the city and there are plans for more to come. Slowly repeats there may not be a policing solution to the demonstration. He also says police cannot prevent more trucks from coming to the city this weekend. I wonder what they're doing. I really do wonder what they're doing. I really do.
Follow the money. You know what's you know what'd be interesting, Dean, if you're talking about this on the program tomorrow, your announcement about your pending lawsuit against
Friday. Against the trucker convoy for calling me a pedophile. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So on Friday, you know what you should do as well, because there are people out there that are really good at this. You should try to find somebody that knows how to dig into these things and follow the money, because I bet you it wouldn't take much to find somebody that listens to this podcast that would be very, very, very happy in helping you figure out where the money's coming from and who's responsible for what donations. Because just as an average Joe, if you just take a look at it, there's a lot that those programs bury, right? And there's people out there that find ways of digging that shit up. And I think that would be a very interesting part of this whole process.
Part of me thinks that Dean already has that guy.
Oh, do you?
I can't
Part of
say.
me says that he might have that guy.
I can't say. But I can tell you this. I don't speak out of turn anymore. Like, I'm not going to tell you what I have and telegraph you what I have, because that's what dumb people do, right?
Okay, we'll ignore the big wink then.
Let me just say this. Let me say this about where the money's coming from. It ain't coming from Canadians. We know that.
I don't know.
And
Maureen
over the
would
next...
fucking beg to differ with you.
Yeah, exactly. Maureen's an idiot, though. That's the problem.
She gave $25 this morning at 8:10.
I know she did. Yeah, Maureen, that $25 means you're going to have one less pack of cheap smokes tonight. That's all it means. No one cares. And it didn't really come from Canadians, and especially the big ones. They didn't come from Canadians. They legitimately came from right-wing religious groups and those that have a stake in sowing chaos in this country. Russia's one of them. We've seen it. We are not just following this. We have forensic people that are making sure that when the money gets dispersed, it was a great idea. Way to go, Locke. Locke has championed this thing to the point where we're 5 days into this thing.
I'm here for you.
In the next 2 to 3 weeks, whether it's us or someone else, you're going to be fucking amazed. You'll be amazed. It's like fucking spy shit. It's weird. And it all centers around controlling Canada's most vulnerable, or as I like to call them, the dumbest people in the country. And they activated these people this weekend, and that money and those people through religion, special interests, a couple other groups, they're going to continue to do it, and they plan on doing it this weekend. But I also heard just moments ago that they don't plan on coming to Toronto now because they've been told that if you come here, you're going to get it.
Ain't going to go so well.
Riot gear.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But anyway, thanks for doing this, guys. Really appreciate it.
No,
it was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
Is it not Thursday today?
Wednesday.
Okay, it's good. I'm glad you told me that, because I was in Thursday most of the day.
Locke
today.
needs a bridge pack.
Yeah.
Now.
I drank a lot last night too, Bondzee. I don't know.
Yeah, but you look fine.
You look great.
I never look fine, Rook. I appreciate you lying to me, though.
Yeah. Bonds, we'll talk to you again before you go. I hope we'll be able to
definitely. I'd love to come on maybe tomorrow before I go. Say goodbye.
Right. That'd be great.
Yeah, we'll be there Friday, and I got a great show tonight. We've got Jason Pierce from Our Lady Peace on Tripping with Bondzee tonight, and also Little Jimmy's coming on to talk some Jedi Jimmy podcast, his Jedi Jimmy podcast.
Are you guys not watching Boba Fett? Are you caught up? Episode 5. Anybody see the last one? Did you see who was in it? I don't want to tell you.
Started watching.
I
started watching, but I don't know if I'm going to make it, man. The first episode was bad.
I don't even care. The Mandalorian just cucked Boba Fett so hard and took his series.
Mando's back, baby. You gotta watch it.
It's
fucking unbelievable.
I'll jump back in.
Yeah.
Like 30 seconds into the show, too. They just right out the gate.
I'm going to watch that Pam and Tommy.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
That just dropped today. I might start that before I jump back into this Boba Fett.
Great reviews.
Is it? Okay.
That's getting really
you know
really
who,
good reviews.
You know who's behind that is that Seth Rogen writing group. I guess he's
in it.
Is he? Okay, well he's part of his production company So I
So
I hope
probably
it's
woke.
better than that fucking Motley Crue
The dirt.
doc. The dirt was awful. That was
It's a fun
embarrassing.
flick. It's a fun
I
flick.
liked it. I thought it was
wasn't
great.
bad,
I read
yeah.
the book
Really
though
good.
too. Yeah,
Pete
I read
Davidson
the book.
showed up. I was angry. I was
Yeah,
still
I'm
angry
not a
at
big
him back
Pete
then.
Davidson guy. Like anytime he shows up in something, I'm like, oh fuck, like just stay on Saturday Night Live. You're funny. Just stay there.
He's not funny.
No, I don't. Well, I think he's funny, but just on Saturday Night Live. Anyway, guys, thanks. Appreciate it. Good to see you
Thank
all.
you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Lachlan
see you,
Cross,
Bondzee.
95.7, Cruise
You too,
FM
bud.
in Edmonton, at Lachlan Cross on Twitter, Bondzee Live tonight, 9 o'clock. Tripping with Bondzee. You can get him and Steve Pierce from, is it Steve Pierce?
Jason Pierce.
Jason Pierce, pardon me. Steve Pierce
Yep.
used to play for the Jays. My bad. Jason Pierce from Our Lady Peace. He's going to be joining Bondzee tonight on Tripping with Bondzee. So thanks, Bonds. Rook,
pal.
thanks for breaking down the Flores stuff. Really appreciate it. At Rookie with 6 O's, KIE, and an underscore is where you can find him. Thanks, brother. Great to see you as well. And thank you. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Don't forget, you can find us at deanblundell.com. Pretty much everything we do there as well. And go and sign up for a newsletter there. We really appreciate that. Also, if you're listening to this on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, etc., please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Dean Blundell Show on YouTube, Dean Blundell TV on Twitch. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks to our friends and sponsors over at Easy Auto Financial for making this possible. Easy Auto Financial is a company that helps you get financing for your car. They don't give two shits about your credit rating either. These guys are incredible. They just want to get you in the car, get you on your way so that you can get back into the business of whatever it is that you do for business. Call easyautofinancial.ca. Go there now today. Sign up. No obligation. Doesn't cost you a dime. Good people. Also, domination.com, dmntn.com. They've been helping people like us do content, people like you that don't have a lot of time, putting it into promos in minutes instead of hours. It's incredible. Try it today and try them for free. Go to dmntn.com. Again, dmntn.com. And, of course, Ed's Fine Imports and his Gitch, luxury branded underwear, boxer briefs, pouch in the front, the best underwear you'll ever buy, fellas. He'll send them to you as well. Go to edsfineimports.com, order online today, and use promo code GITCH3. You'll get a free pair of underwear. That's the kind of guy he is. Canadian company. Might as well, right? So again, go to edsfineimports.com. Check out what Ed has to offer. Clothing for men and boys. Again, edsfineimports.com. Thanks for listening and watching, if that's what you did. Don't forget to be good to each other. Try to fucking not be a prick. It's been a tough life for everybody the last couple of years. And, hey, trucker convoy people. Choo-choo. Here I come.